Dear students, today we are going to discuss the next tense, that is, we should say future. And the very first part of future tense, we are going to consider that is simple future or future indefinite. We are going to discuss this tense today. Previously, we discussed the tense that belong to past tense, that was past perfect continuous, that was present perfect continuous, right? So, right now, we are going to discuss simple future. But before starting that simple future, I should discuss with you that this future tense is actually a sort of willingness. When you want to show that some action that will be done by you in future, you won't do something or you will do something in future. In a sort, you show your willingness, you show your intention that you are going to do something in future or not. That is the simple way to understand, to identify this tense, right? So used for showing willingness or intention for doing some task in future. That in a way we can say that the thing that you plan or you have intention when you are talking, when you are conversating with some person, and at that spot, at that time, you are going to show your intention to your plans that you want to do something in future or not. That is actually makes future indefinite. What is the pattern for affirmative sentences? That's very simple: subject, the doer of an action, the person who wants to do some an action, and then will or shall plus verb first form. Will or shall are considered here models, and we put I and we for shall, and the remaining all are left for will. So it is mentioned with I and we mention shall, and with others you, he, she, it, and they, we use will. But you should also keep in mind at the same time that if we are putting uh, shall with you, he, she, it, and they, it means that we are going to emphasize, we are putting a stress on the action that is to be done by the subject. That is against the normal routine. In normal routine, we use shall with I and we, and we use will with remaining subjects. But if we are doing against this normal routine, if we are putting will with I and we, it means that it is emphasizing the subject's action, and it is there is stress in the action, right? And exactly if we are using shall with you, he, she, it, and they subjects, it means that it is used for stress. Negative sentences: subject plus will, shall plus not plus first form of the verb. Interrogative: we make interrogative by forming will, shall, by putting will or shall in the beginning, and then we put subject plus verb first form plus question mark, we have the word. So when we want to make question in simple future, it's rule that modals, whichever we are going to use, that must be put in the beginning when we are going to make some question. And then if we are going to make some interrogative that are not starting with modals, rather they are starting with interrogation words like when, who, why, whose, whom, or etc. It means that we are putting them at first in the sentence, then will or shall, then subject plus verb first form. While we are discussing these patterns of the sentences, you should also keep in mind that that is the minimum requirement of the sentence, as we have been discussing in the previous tenses, that if we are putting subject plus will or shall, and then we put first form of the verb, it doesn't mean that in every circumstance, in every condition, the sentence will come to an end here. We also should keep in mind that if there is some transitive verb, of course, the verb that uh, must be uh, preceded by some object, definitely it will take an object after the first form of the verb. And if there are some adverbials, there might be the adverbials. Adverbials are those part of the sentence that may contain some phrases, that may contain some words, that it says about or it tells about some extra information of the verb are used in the sentence, or they might be about some adjective to some time. So that is the active part, or we should say that active tense of future indefinite. Then we come towards the other part, that is the passive part. As you know, dear students, you already know that passive part is uh, part of the sentence where part of the tense where no subject is present, or if there is some subject, it is put in the end by putting by plus subject. So actually in real, uh, passive is always meant for those verbs that don't have the doer of an action, that don't have some subject in the beginning. So, or even there is no subject at all in the sentence, that is in real way. So when we are going to form the passive of future indefinite, we are going to form object plus will or shall, that is modal, and then we come towards be. Be is used for making the passive form of the verb, and then we put the third form of the verb. Exactly, then we go towards negative, we have to put not after immediate after the modal, that is will or shall, and then interrogative, will or shall plus object plus be, and then third form of the verb, and interrogative that are starting with when, why, who, etc. They take WH words at first, and then we put will, shall. There are modals, then object plus be, and then third form of the verb. So this is the way you have to form the passive form of future indefinite. When we are discussing all that, you should also keep in mind another point, that is in modern times, the difference between distinction between will and shall is going to be, we should say that, is going to be made no more. Uh, mean uh, in modern English, in modern form, there is no distinction between will or shall. They normally use will with all the subjects, but still, as a students, you have to use will and shall with difference. You have to use shall with I and V, and the remaining subjects will take will in normal condition. But if we are going to emphasize, we are going to put an emphasis on some action of the subject, then we use will for I and V, and for the remaining subject shall is used. Now we have some sentences uh, for translation that we may discuss with you. These sentences, first sentences, हम वजीर तालीम से मीटिंग करेंगे. Yes, there is the sentence. सबसे पहले हमने क्या करना होता है, सब्जेक्ट इसमें जो है उसको पुट करेंगे हम, ऑफ कोर्स वी लगाएंगे. वी के बाद डेफिनेटली हम जानते हैं कि शैल आएगा. वी शैल होल्ड a meeting with the Minister of Education. आप मुल्तान कब रवाना होंगे? रवाना होने के लिए यूज़ करते हैं हम लीव फॉर. व्हेन विल यू लीव फॉर मुल्तान? हम दोबारा कब मिलेंगे? व्हेन शैल वी मीट अगेन? मैं कल लाहौर जाऊंगा. आई शैल गो टू लाहौर टुमारो. वो इस प्रोजेक्ट की तकमील में मेरी मदद करेगा. He will help me in, we should say that in completion of this project. He will help me in the completion of this project. Right? उसके बाद है तुम अपनी आमदनी से ज़्यादा खर्च क्यों करोगे? तो ये बन जाएगा why will you spend more than your income? तो ये WH वाले सेंटेंस था. क्या वो मेरी बात सुनेगा? विल. अब यहाँ पे देखिए उर्दू में लिखा हुआ है मेरी बात सुनेगा. बात सुनने के लिए हम यूज़ करेंगे लिसन टू मी और हिम और एनीथिंग दैट इज यू इवन. तो यहाँ पे क्योंकि वो मेरी बात सुनेगा के लिए लिसन टू और आगे जो भी सब्जेक्ट होगा वो उसका लगाएंगे. विल ही लिसन टू मी? क्या वो मेरी बात सुनेगा? राइट. तो यहाँ पे जस्ट इतना लिसन टू मी अगर लगा देंगे तो वो बात सुनने के लिए. वो हम अपनी ईद बड़ी जोश व खरोश से मनाएंगे. We shall celebrate our Eid with lot of fever and fest. और इसके बाद है पुलिस इस मामले में तफ्तीश करेगी. Police will interrogate in this matter. We'll look into भी होता है तफ्तीश करना, देखना, look into or interrogate in this matter. So these were some examples of future indefinite that we have mentioned, that we have discussed. Right now we are going towards the next part of the tense, and that is future progressive, right? So now we are going towards the next part of the tense, that is progressive future, or we should say that future continuous active. It is used to show, or we should say that predict the action continuity in future. When we want to show some action that is to be continued, that is to be in the middle of it, uh, and but it is in future, that we are just predicting about that, then it is progressive future. Affirmative sentences we make by subject plus will or shall, that are model, plus be is helping verb, plus ing, be plus ing. Here we are going to use it, will or shall. Accordingly, we have to use according to the subject, and then we use verb first form plus ing. Then for negative sentences, after will or shall we put not, and be is just in its place as it is before. Interrogative sentences, will, shall, we place it in the beginning, and then subject plus be. Be will remain in its place as it is before, and then verb first form ing. Exactly here we are going to make the interrogative sentences that are starting, that are beginning with WH words, then will, shall plus subject plus be plus verb first form plus ing. That is the pattern for for constructing future progressive sentence. Then we come towards another part, that is the passive, of course. Sometimes it is supposed that there is no passive form of future continuous, but if we want to make, it is quite possible that we want to make, or we are supposed to construct the passive of this part of future too. But generally, most of the time, it is skipped. Its passive is not possible, it is supposed, or it is not made. But in some cases it is made. Some grammarians, some scholars say that its passive is possible, so we are going to discuss its passive too. Object plus will, shall plus be plus being plus verb third form. So we are to put being, as we have already put being in the, we should say that progressive sentences of all kind. If it was simple, we should say that present continuous, we were supposed to put being for making the passive of progressive present. And if it was progressive, we should say past, we were supposed to put being in that too for making the passive form. And now when it is future continuous, that is will, shall, be, and verb first form plus ing in active, once again we are supposed to put being in this tense too for forming the passive of progressive future. So as we have already done, that being is used for progressive sentences for making the passive. uh, so we will put being and third form of the verb, that is before you object plus will, shall plus be plus being plus third form of the verb. Once again, if we are to make negative, we have to make not in the middle of be and will, shall, and then once again interrogative, will and shall will come in the beginning, and then object plus be plus being plus third form of the verb. Once again WH plus will, shall plus object plus be plus being plus third form of the verb. Now there are some sentences that we are to form. हमारे दोस्त फुटबॉल खेल रहे होंगे. Our friends will be playing football, right? खेल रहे होंगे. So इसमें हमने क्या किया, खेल रहे होंगे, जो कि इसके आइडेंटिफिकेशन है. क्या वो मरीज़ की आदत कर रहा होगा? जी, इयादत करना, लुक आफ्टर करना, या इसके लिए हम आस्क आफ्टर का वर्ड भी यूज़ करते हैं. तो ये आ जाए, क्या मरीज़ की आदत कर रहा होगा? विल ही बी आस्किंग आफ्टर द पेशेंट. आस्क आफ्टर जो है हम इयादत के लिए यूज़ करते हैं, फ्रेजल वर्ब है, आपने किया हुआ है. वो अपनी सेहत का ख्याल रख रहा होगा. ही विल बी टेकिंग केयर ऑफ हिज हेल्थ. हम इम्तिहान से पहले सख्त मेहनत कर रहे होंगे. अब यहाँ पे देखें, वंस अगेन यहाँ पे अब आपने माइंड में रखना है कि 2 पार्ट्स हैं सेंटेंस के, हमें इम्तिहान से पहले, मतलब ये कि इम्तिहान शुरू होने से पहले। इसको हम 2 तरह से आप इस सेंटेंस को कंसिडर कर सकते हैं। एक तो ये कह सकते हैं कि इसका मतलब ये है कि हम इम्तिहान शुरू होने से पहले, और दूसरा ये है कि हम सिंपली अगर हम इम्तिहान से पहले लिखते हैं तो ये एक फ्रेज़ बन जाएगा, फ्रेज़ के तौर पर इसको कंसिडर कर सकते हैं, राइट। तो हम ये कहेंगे वी शैल बी वर्किंग हार्ड बिफोर एग्जामिनेशन, ठीक है। बिफोर एग्जामिनेशन हम सख्त मेहनत करेंगे, वर्किंग हार्ड। लेकिन अगर हम इस सेंटेंस को इस तरह से लें, हम इम्तिहान शुरू होने से पहले, राइट, इस तरह से लें तो ये 2 पार्ट्स बन जाएंगे। जैसे हमने पास्ट में भी डिस्कस किया था कि 2 पार्ट या कॉम्बिनेशन भी बन सकता है। तो अब इसके 2 पार्ट्स बन जाएंगे अगर हम इसको इस तरह से कंसिडर करें कि हम इम्तिहान शुरू होने से पहले सख्त मेहनत कर रहे होंगे। तो हम सख्त मेहनत कर रहे होंगे, ये पार्ट तो ऐसे ट्रांसलेट होगा, वी shall be working hard before the examination start। तो इस तरह से फिर यानी नेक्स्ट पार्ट जो होगा वो प्रेजेंट में, सिंपल प्रेजेंट में या प्रेजेंट इंडेफिनिट में ट्रांसलेट होगा, और दूसरा पार्ट जो कि एक्चुअल इस टेंस से बिलोंग करता है, कर रहे होंगे या इस तरह के पार्ट्स वाला जो कि बाद में उर्दू में लिखा होगा, उसको हम फ्यूचर कंटिन्यूस में ट्रांसलेट करेंगे, और पहले वाले पार्ट को सिंपल प्रेजेंट में। यानी यहाँ पर भी 2 कॉम्बिनेशन बन सकते हैं। हम अगले 10 साल इस मंसूबे पर काम कर रहे होंगे। जी, वी मंसूबे पर काम करेंगे, वी शैल बी वर्किंग ऑन दिस प्लान बाय बाय द नेक्स्ट 10 ईयर्स, ठीक है। बाय द नेक्स्ट 10 ईयर्स हम इसमें लगाएंगे, वो पूरी रात सफ़र कैसे जारी रखेंगे, या फॉर द नेक्स्ट 10 ईयर्स भी कर सकते हैं। वो पूरी रात सफ़र कैसे जारी रखेंगे, हाउ विल दे कंटिन्यू ट्रैवलिंग ऑल द नाइट, पूरी रात, ठीक है, जारी रखेंगे। क्या आप उन्हें रुखसत कर रहे होंगे, विल यू बी सीइंग देम ऑफ, ठीक है। सी ऑफ होता है रुखसत करना, विल यू बी सीइंग देम ऑफ, क्या तुम उनको सी ऑफ कर रहे होगे। अच्छा, उसके बाद है डॉक्टर मरीज का मुआयना कर रहा होगा, डॉक्टर विल बी एग्जामिनिंग द पेशेंट, राइट, कर रहा होगा, विल बी एग्जामिनिंग द पेशेंट। और लास्ट वाला इसमें जो सेंटेंस है, दैट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ पैसिव, मरीज का ऑपरेशन किया जा रहा होगा, द पेशेंट विल बी बीइंग। अब यहाँ पे बीइंग लगाएंगे क्योंकि मरीज का ऑपरेशन कौन कर रहा होगा ये मेंशन नहीं है, तो इसलिए हम इसमें क्या करेंगे, विल बी बीइंग का वर्ड ऐड करके इसको पैसिव फॉर्म में लेके आएंगे। तो हम इसको करेंगे, द पेशेंट विल बी बीइंग ऑपरेटेड अपॉन। ऑपरेशन के लिए हम एक फ्रेज यूज़ करते हैं, फ्रेजल वर्ब टाइप है, ऑपरेट अपॉन, डेफिनेटली हमने वो यूज़ करना है। इसी तरह से पहला जो सेंटेंस है उसको भी हम पैसिव में बना सकते हैं, फुटबॉल खेला जा रहा होगा, राइट। तो अगर इसको हम पैसिव में बनाना चाहें तो ये बन जाएगा, फुटबॉल विल बी बीइंग प्लेड, राइट। अच्छा, इसी तरह से मंसूबे पर काम किया जा रहा होगा, इस मंसूबे पर, राइट। तो हम इसको इस तरह से कर सकते हैं, वर्क विल बी बीइंग डन ऑन दिस, विल बी बीइंग डन ऑन दिस प्लान। तो यानी इस तरह के हम अगर पैसिव बनाना चाहें तो उसका रोल यही होगा कि उसमें हम बी बीइंग साथ ऐड कर देंगे। So I think, dear students, you have got it thoroughly. How can we form the progressive future, and how can we form simple future? Once again, I would come towards revision of these 2 tenses. The first tense was simple future, and simple future is used to show willingness or to show intention, especially when somebody is talking on the spot and he wants to show his intention, his willingness, then he uses simple future. When somebody is supposed to talk, and when somebody is, we should say that talking, and on the spot he decides to do something or he plans, then he shows intention by will or shall that are modal and first form of the verb. Passive, for forming the passive of simple future, we use be plus third form of the verb. Will or shall, they are already present in the sentence, but be will be added and third form of the verb will be, of course, in passive. In progressive future, once again, progressive future, will shall plus be plus first form plus ing. First form plus ing is also used. It is also said it is the present participle. So we are using the present participle in future progressive, and be, will be, or shall be is to be used here. And then we put the passive. In passive, we make passive by putting being or adding being in the remaining, or in the we should say that existing sentence of active. So being is added and third form of the verb is placed, राइट। और एक और इसमें हम बात यानी सिंपल फ्यूचर के हवाले से या दूसरे फ्यूचर से भी हम डिस्कस कर सकते हैं कि अगर जब हम एम्फसाइज करना चाहें या स्ट्रेस पुट करना चाहें तो फिर हम उसमें विल और शैल को रिवर्स कर देते हैं। जैसे यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि हम दोबारा कब मिलेंगे, ठीक है, या जैसे हम लिखा हुआ है हम वज़ीर तालीम से मीटिंग करेंगे। अगर इसका सेंटेंस इस तरह से होता हम ज़रूर वज़ीर तालीम से मीटिंग करेंगे, राइट। तो ये अब इसमें एम्फसिस आ गई या स्ट्रेस आ गई, तो इसको ट्रांसलेट करने के लिए हम फिर क्या करते हैं, विल और शैल को रिवर्स कर देते हैं। यानी इसमें वैसे तो शैल लगना चाहिए, लेकिन जब हम ज़रूर का लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल करेंगे तो फिर विल लगाएंगे। वी विल होल्ड अ मीटिंग विद द मिनिस्टर ऑफ एजुकेशन, राइट। जैसे यहाँ पर है वो इस प्रोजेक्ट की तकमील में मेरी मदद करेगा, तो इसके लिए हम क्या यूज़ करेंगे, ही विल नॉर्मली हम यूज़ करते हैं, लेकिन अगर ज़रूर मदद करेगा का लफ्ज़ लगाएंगे तो फिर शैल लगाएंगे। ही शैल हेल्प मी इन द कंप्लीशन ऑफ दिस प्रोजेक्ट, राइट। तो जब हम एम्फसाइज करना चाहें, स्ट्रेस देना चाहें किसी भी फ्यूचर टेंस में, तो विल और शैल के जो नॉर्मल रूटीन है उसको रिवर्स कर देंगे, आई और विल के साथ विल लगाएंगे और रिमेनिंग पार्ट के साथ फिर शैल लगाएंगे, जो कि नॉर्मली इस तरह से नहीं होता। Right now, I hope you have got it very well. You have understood all the things. So now we are going to